Here are the 7 players that contenders should be selling their second round picks for. Let's start it off with Matthew Stafford. He has been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL this season. He's first in the league in passing yards, third in touchdowns, second in PFF passing grade. He's first in big time throws. The list goes on and on. He is among the leader in all passing stats. Now, right now is probably the best time to buy Stafford because people are scared about this Puka injury. Obviously, Puka is a great receiver and the offense benefits greatly from having him in it. But this injury is starting to sound a little more minor than it originally was. An ankle injury that might hold him out a couple weeks, not an IR stint like originally thought. Even without Puka, we have Davante Adams, one of still the top receivers in the NFL on this Rams offense to help Stafford bridge that period without Puka. Now, despite never being a rushing quarterback, Matt Stafford has put up with the Rams finishes of QB5, QB15, and QB19 in his 3 full seasons with the Rams. Right now, he's on a QB10 pace, and he's looking like a top 12 fantasy quarterback right now. Now, for you contenders out there, your late second round pick, it's just not all that valuable. Being able to get a starting quarterback, let alone a possible QB1 this season for a late second, is absolutely something you should be doing. Even if you have 2 very good quarterbacks and Stafford wouldn't slot into one of your starting positions, having that third quarterback come the playoffs, whether it be a matchup situation or injuries that cause you to need that QB3, you are going to be thankful that you sent out your relatively low-valued second rounder for him. Next up, we have another veteran player that's being written off, and that's Stefon Diggs. Now, Diggs has been recovering from an ACL injury that he suffered early last season, so he was ramping up early in the season with the Patriots. Now, that seems to have made people believe that Stefon Diggs is a shell of himself. He's not what he used to be. But in weeks 4 and 5, he put up over 100 yards in each week. It's clear that he is becoming more and more of a focal point of this passing offense, and it's a passing offense on the rise, with Drake May looking like a great NFL quarterback already. Now, even if Diggs is past his prime, it is clear that he is the most talented wide receiver on this Patriots offense. Now, this past week, he did have a bit of a down week. Now, that was helped by an offensive pass interference that really shouldn't have been called at all. It was a very weak call, but that would have put Diggs into a much better situation. Now, this down week helps you as a contender, as a buyer here. That game should be enough to keep his value still in that late second range that it's been and give you this one last opportunity to buy a very solid top 24 wide receiver for the rest of this season. The third up on this list is Darnell Mooney, and he's someone that people are really forgetting about because he struggled with injury early in the season. Combine that with him not being the sexiest name in fantasy football coming into this year, and it's just an undervalued situation. You may not even know that last season he finished as the wide receiver 31 in fantasy. In his 2 games that he's played so far this season healthy, he combined for 15 targets, so he is obviously still a part of this offense. The coaching staff wants to get him the ball. Now, unlike the first 2 players on this list, Mooney isn't just a rental. He's 27 years old. He should continue to hold value after this year. If you are a contender and you don't need him into the future, it's very possible that you're able to trade Mooney for that same second round pick that you give up to get him. And you just got a free backup wide receiver, a wide receiver 3 for the second half of this season for free. Next up on the list is Isaiah Likely. I think Likely is primed for a big boost this second half of the season. He missed the opening 3 weeks of the season and was eased back into the offense. And even when he was eased back in, Lamar Jackson was missing time. With Lamar back and healthy, this offense should return to the powerhouse that it has been. And those Ravens offenses always include the tight ends as a key focus. And what's keeping Likely down as that late second round value is Mark Andrews. And Mark Andrews has not looked impressive this season. Likely missed those first 3 games on the season, and in those 3 games, Mark Andrews only managed more than 1 catch in one of the 3 games. On the season, Andrews only has 2 games in the top 24 tight ends, and that's out of 6 games this season, only 1/3 of his games being in the top 24. Now look at Likely's season last year when he was healthy. He had 4 top 12 tight end finishes and finished as a tight end 2 an additional 5 times last season. And that's all while Mark Andrews was still healthy on the team. Now, I think there's a chance now with Lamar coming back in the offense, Isaiah likely healthy, that he just takes over the job of Mark Andrews over the second half of this season. And even if he doesn't, even if Mark Andrews is persistent, stays out there for a good amount of snaps and keeps likely out of that tight end one conversation, you still have Mark Andrews' contract, which is up at the end of the season, meaning likely is likely to be the starting tight end on the Ravens next year. I think this is a perfect buy for contenders because you're giving up a late second and you get a backup tight end for you who has a chance to be a top 5 tight end if Mark Andrews goes down or likely just takes over the job. And even if he doesn't, you have a solid backup tight end that can give you tight end 2 numbers at the worst in those situations where your tight end 1 gets injured and misses time. And that's not even to mention the future benefit of possibly having a very good tight end into the future with likely. Next up, we're heading over to the running back position with Tyjae Spears. Now, in 5 weeks that Tyjae Spears missed this season, Tony Pollard took on a very heavy workload. He averaged over 18 touches a game, and at 28 years old with an injury history, Pollard is at a high risk of injury with that workload and age combination. There's a lot of wear on his tires already this season in a season that's pretty much a lost cause for the Titans. Now, the Titans have an out on Tony Pollard's contract after the season with only $2 million dead cap, a very small number. Now, if Tyjae Spears looks good over the second half of the season, they may want to just move on from Pollard and let Spears take over as that lead back. In that case, they need to give him a chance to see what he can do, to see if this coaching staff likes Spears enough to put that confidence in him. And that could mean that Spears is a very quality weekly flex option for you in fantasy. Now, I think any backup running back who would clearly take over the majority of work if the starter went down is worth a late second. Any of the players in that tier, the upside is enough that a late second round pick, it's just not doing a whole lot. And if that starting running back goes down, misses a couple games, and at the running back position, it happens so often, then you have a very good RB2, or at the very least, a flex option there. Spears is exactly that. He's one of these backs that if Tony Pollard goes down, he is the starter and he is getting those 18 plus touches a game. But he also, like I mentioned, has this path where maybe the team just wants to see what Spears can do as the lead back. And even if they do want to continue on with Pollard for this season, then Spears still has some value. He's a good receiving back, he's explosive, he can make plays happen, and he's still going to get touches as the number 2 running back on this team. So what are the scenarios here? Worst case, as a contender, you send a late second for Spears, and you get someone who's just giving you replacement level numbers. In case of injury, you feel like you're not going to take a 0 at your RB2 position or in the flex. Best case scenario, he takes over as the starting running back for this team, and you have a solid RB2 on your roster that costs you basically nothing. And Spears, obviously much younger than Pollard, has the long-term value. So even if at the end of this year you want to move on, you will still be able to recoup value from Spears. Next up on the list is Kendre Miller. And this is a very similar argument to Tyjae Spears, except Alvin Kamara is even older than Pollard. He's 30 years old. Not only is he 30 years old and has taken on a significant workload over his career, including this season, he isn't looking very good. He's averaging under 4 yards a carry once again. Now, Kendre has less value, standalone value, while the starter is still in place than Spears. I think he has a higher chance of taking over that number 1 role this season. Kendre looks like the better rusher for this team. He's gaining on Kamara in the carries totals, in the snaps totals, and it's looking like it might just be a matter of time before they give the keys to Kendre and let Kamara just be a veteran presence, a pass catcher, a third down back. I also just like buying into the Saints offense, as crazy as that sounds. I think that Kellen Moore is a great play caller, and he's designing a very good offense despite a lack of talent around. And into the future, Kendre Miller could be a very valuable piece if this team rights the ship after this draft and free agency class. And the last player I want to highlight is another backup running back, and that is Tyler Allgeier. Slightly different situation here because he doesn't really have any realistic path to passing the RB1 on his team because that's Bijan Robinson. Bijan's younger than Allgeier. There's no age-related decline there. There's no chance of Allgeier taking over the starting job. But what you lose in that ability to take over the starting job, you gain in just production as the RB2 on the team. Allgeier gets a good amount of snaps around the goal line, and he already has 3 touchdowns on the season. Allgeier's been a top 30 back in 60% of the games this season. He is a reliable backup for you. If he is coming off your bench as a contender, then you can feel comfortable if an injury happens that he can fill in and score you some points week to week. And should Bijan go down with an injury at any point this season, Allgeier jumps up into the RB1 conversation. So for a late second round pick, again, you're getting this safety of some points off your bench at a very difficult running back position, if you should need it, and the upside of if Bijan gets injured, you have a top tier running back that just got added to your team. If you like these players that you can sell your second round picks for, go ahead and check out our last video, which was the first round pick value players that contenders should be going out and buying right now.